And that all kind of kicked off at the very first Ordinals Summit, which was in Singapore right before Token 2049 conference. I was actually at that event because I was there a day earlier, and I know some guys building on the Bitcoin ecosystem, the Opal Network guys, and Ben Charbit, who were kind of associated with Animoca, and they said, Brian, you want to come? And I was like, yeah. And I went there, and there were guys walking around in capes and stuff, and they're like, Brian, this is like the early Bitcoin builder vibe here, where people just want to build because it's cool, and they love it, and there was a good vibe. Domo was on stage, who I know is an advisor, investor in your company. And Casey was there, and they had come up with these kind of BRC20 protocols, and all this stuff was exploding. It was really exciting. That was less than a year ago that happened. It's kind of amazing how fast the market's moved. And that protocol kicked off the fact you could have like a token on the Bitcoin chain, right? It was very important historically, this moment.
It was part of history, which, worth remembering, right? Worth mentioning even a couple of years later, because that was the tipping point that bring a lot of builders' attention, at least my attention. I was never a Bitcoin maxi or laser eye. I never did anything for Bitcoin community all the way from like 2010 or whatever, right? It was different. I was an East builder, right? And involved with Polkadot, the Polygon, and a few other layer 1 or layer 2s, which is all programmable, right? Bitcoin never had this programmability capability in the past. And with Ordinals, I think the reason it's getting a lot of people's attention and excitement is they have this new asset protocol. So you can generating your fungible assets, the BRC20, even ARC20, and now it's runes, right, on top of Bitcoin and network. It happened in Ethereum in 2017 on ICO era, right? So that was cool. Once you have on-chain synthetic assets owned by the project, by the builders, people want to bring use case on top of that. So literally, I think last year from 2023 February till now, we experienced the entire Bitcoin ecosystem the same as Ethereum in the last 8 years. All the way from 2016, people were talking about generating assets on Ethereum, and then we have ICOs, then we have DeFi summer in 2020, we have NFT summer in 2021 with gaming, metaverse. All these had a crash course of the compact version, more compact version, shorter version in Bitcoin. I remember very vividly, we were inscribing all the Bitcoin bitmap. So basically like a native Bitcoin version of metaverse. And each of the Bitcoin block equals to one land. So altogether we have over 850 piece of lands now. But that's like interesting idea, bring this dimension of time into metaverse. Because if you think about it, each land equals a period of time. It's one block time, right? Bitcoin block time is around 10 to 15 or 20 minutes. So you can bring the time dimension on the lens. So that's part of the history. So when we say Bitlayer trying to make history, because Bitcoin is the Web3 infrastructure, really worth mentioning about history. It was 15 years of history, a lot of things happened, and the Bitcoin, all the things on the Bitcoin chain, it's there. It's there forever. It's tamper-proof, right? It's immutable, which is great. So I think that's kind of really brings this special vibe and a special energy back to Bitcoin community, right? Yeah, so that's something, for me, it's like super exciting. So whatever we do for Bitcoin, even we have some, try and error, it's part of history. I don't really have that. I don't really get that vibe from Polkadot, from like Ethereum community. Yeah.
And do the Bitcoiners embrace you, even though you're not the old school OG Bitcoiner?
I think some people like us in a way. We bring new users back to Bitcoin.
Right.
And we bring builders back, right? Let's face it, Bitcoin in the past was all miner focused. Miners think about how much electricity they pay, how many Bitcoins you can mine. That's it, right? They go to Bitcoin events. I own Bitcoin, you own Bitcoin, you talk about this miner, that's it. There's no other topics.
They talk about miners, and then they talk about financial, fiat currencies and inflation.
So maybe talk about OTC, talk about how fiat is broken, right? That's it, right?
I know.
Yeah, and maybe talk about payment, solutions.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
They say Lightning's going to work one day.
One day, right? And I think compared to USDT, USDC, we have way less payment, adoption in Lightning than the others, right? Way less. So I think that's that. But from all of those last year, we got so much new things coming along, right? We got so many new people in the space. I think some of them may not be the same people as the Bitcoin OGs, but at the end of the day, we're trying to create the pie bigger. We're trying to make the party bigger, right? When we talk about mass adoption, you can't just keep the elites, sort of the cyberpunks, stay there, and everybody have to listen to them. That's it. It needs to be a free market with new people, with new supply and new idea, in a very welcoming way to join the party, right? If otherwise, it's become like kind of hypocrite, right? When we talk about mass adoption, but the old people just hate all the new ones to come over, which is kind of contradictory, right? I think Ordinals really opened up these gates, right, to allow the builders to think about what you can do on Bitcoin. But now with Bitcoin layer 2, we have all this programmable layer, it's even more, right? Some people could argue that's a Pandora box, but I think history kind of make the point like people want it. There's a demand there, and there's a reason we should have the adoption of Bitcoin ecosystem because of the miner with additional rewards, with less and less block rewards every single block. Miners want getting the yield from the additional block rewards because of transaction happening in Bitcoin, rather than just mine out the new ones. Because at the end of the day, we have the cap, 21 million Bitcoin. That's it, right? So the miners are paying a lot of electricity fee, just earning less and less Bitcoin rewards.
Are Ordinals still hot, or have they quieted down a little bit? Do you think they'll continue to be? Is Runes also going to bring some new life into this BRC20 protocol?
It's a good question. I think compared to last year's, especially a certain period, especially like let's say in November, we could argue it was overheated a bit. Now quiet down a bit, but I still quite a lot of transaction going on. There's a lot of new Ordinals assets, like some new mint, some new collections, which has interesting community support. I think BRC20 is still there and have interesting tickers being minted out. People trying to figure out how to explore use cases for all the BRC20 assets. Some of them are exploring with Bitlayer to with some bridges to bridge to layer 2, and they can tap into all kinds of DeFi protocols. They can borrow against it. They can become like a part of liquidity as a collateral and things like that. So all these are kind of happening. In terms of Runes, I think it was definitely a bit overhyped during this halving season. Rune is a bit different. It's more fungible. It's more mimetic, right? It feels like a meme coin for a meme coin protocol on Bitcoin. And a few of the Rune protocol have interesting threshold, like they hit interesting market cap, like Dark to the Moon, for example. But I think it's still very early for Rune assets, right? But at the end of the day, for us, we are very neutral. We don't just sit on one asset protocol. Whatever asset protocol on Bitcoin layer 1, as long as they have interesting transaction, interesting momentum, if they need cheaper gas fee, more programmability, tap into the real DeFi use cases, which you can do that on Bitcoin layer 1, we welcome them, right? So we are kind of in the process kicking off another ecosystem campaign to embrace all the NFT collections, all the BRC20 communities. Like we're talking to the stats big communities, we're talking to the rats communities. We're trying to figure out how to work with like Pizza Ninja, On-Chain Monkey, and a lot of interesting, good vibe NFT collection as well.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.